Hello and welcome to another Happily Letter After tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to do ribbon lettering in Procreate. If you don't have Procreate or would rather learn how to do this with marker the traditional way, I will leave a link to the video that shows you how to do that in the video description. Okay, so I have included these brushes for free for you. If you are an email subscriber, you will be getting the free downloads for this. If you are not an email subscriber, if you go to the site, leave a link in the video description, you can sign up to get the emails and you'll have access to all the freebies in the library. These freebies that I'm using for today are actually from a brush set that I have not released yet because I have not finished yet. So these are actually previews from that. So I have a ribbon brush that we're going to be using and a dotted brush we will be using. So grab those before we get started, and I will also have a free color palette for you, and it's actually one that we've used in a previous project. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is download the color palette. It's called Candy Cane. This was actually from my candy cane lettering tutorial that I did. We're not using all the colors. We're going to use most of the colors from this because the red is just perfect. So go ahead and make sure you have this red selected. And with the brushes that I provided, grab the ribbon brush, and my brush size, in case yours is different, is at 49%. All right, and so I'm going to write out the word hope. I'm actually going to redo that because some of my letters got a little big. I'm going to angle my canvas too. Sometimes that helps. Okay. So one thing I want to do is, before we do any details to the lettering, I want to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of the box look to the end. I want it to look like it was cut, you know, like triangular, like at an angle, like some ribbons are. So I'm going to go to my eraser and I'm going to get my small round monoline eraser, and that's in my lettering set. And you can use whatever eraser you want, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just erase these ends here. And I'll do the same on this end. I'm actually going to up this brush size to medium to make it a little bit faster. And if you mess up, you can do a 2-finger tap and that will undo. I'm going to go back to the small to get this little tiny area in here. Okay, so now we have our ribbon lettering. So next, what you're going to want to do is we need to shade this to make it look more like actual lettering because it's pretty flat right now. So go into your layers. We're going to create a new layer right above and tap on the layer. We're going to do clipping mask, and I'm going to change the blend mode from normal to multiply, and I'm going to stick with the same red. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and you can use whatever brush you want to shade, and I'm just going to start shading where the bottom part or the darkest part of the ribbon would be. So you want it to end like right about here where this part, because this part loops over and goes down, so this is on top. And we're gonna use a different brush to get these ones that are kind of faded, and I'll show you that after we get these hard edges. But we're gonna we'll work on the hard edges first, so that way we can kind of get those mapped out. And I'm actually I'm gonna grab from my lettering set, I'm gonna grab my monoline brush in the medium to make it a little bit easier for me. So I leave like a little bit of a curve so it looks like my ribbon is curling over, and then just color it in. And when you do the clipping mask, see how you can color on this outside here and it's not going to get anywhere else. It's only going to be on that layer. I've done other videos that kind of describe that too, how that works. But it's a nice non-destructive way to do this. Okay, so we're going to have some small shading in here that blends, so I'm going to wait and do that last. And so this comes up, and we'll have a little bit of shading in here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that. I think I'm just going to do it right in here and then have this be the top. Okay, and this is also going to be a softer shadow right here. So the softer shadows we're not going to worry about right now. It's only the hard shadows we want. We don't want any of the ones that blend right now, because it'll look weird if we try to do it. It's going to be a lot of fixing, so it's easier just do it right the first time. And for this one, you want to get right to the edge. You can always erase, and it's not going to erase this brighter red. It's only going to erase the dark if you do mess up. And don't forget about the magic undo button. Okay, so now we'll do the E. And the E is going to have a softer shadow. Actually, I'm going to do that as a softer shadow instead, I think. Okay, so let me show you how to do the softer shadow. We're going to still stay on the same layer, same color, but we're going to go into a brush set that comes with Procreate. It's going to be in the airbrushing, and we're going to use a soft brush. And if you want a texture, you can use the charcoal. Those actually look really nice. So you're just going to brush, put some pressure on it, and then kind of ease up as you go. See how that has a nice blend to it. If you want it even darker, you can go a second coat and then blend it out like that. So when you zoom out, you can see it better. So we're going to do that for all these ones that kind of have that transition. And yes, we are going to get a little bit on the top part. We will erase that. So we want to go, I'm just going to do this right here, overlapping both as we are right here, and then I'm going to erase that later. That's perfectly fine. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit of shadow here. We don't want to do too much because this is the highlight right there, but it does overlap, so you want to show that, and it's going to overlap right here. And I'm doing a second little coat on it near where it folds, so that it's darker and it has more depth right there. Okay. The O, there's a lot going on in the O. So take your time with it, because it's one of those ones that's kind of tricky with all the different pieces. So you can make sure that you get it to the way you like it. And then last we have the H here. And go up as far as you want. It's really how you want it to look, so it's up to you. Okay, so going back to the eraser, I'm going to use the medium for some of these bigger areas here. And see, I got some right here on the edge. So I'm just going to kind of go over and clean up these lines a bit. That way it's got that sharp, crisp edge where the lighter part is, and then we've got our shadow, so we have that nice transition. And in here, it actually is good. Okay, well actually that was where the hard shadow was. All right, so we want the small round when we get into this O because of the way it curves. We don't want anything here. Oops. Okay, so kind of follow where your line is and go along the edges here, and then just kind of where they meet. And then you can erase that. So you have, see how nice that looks like a contrast right there. And right here we accidentally got some. We want that hard edge. We don't want it to blend in right there. It's a lot, for me, it's a lot of back and forth between the small brush and the medium brush. I kind of go back and forth between them. I usually, like I just did there, I outline it with the small, and then I go in again with the medium to make it a little bit faster for me. And angling your canvas helps a lot too. If you go with your natural flow of the way your hand moves, that helps a lot. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. All right, so then we have the P. And then we gotta block off this part right here. Oops. Again, use your edges of the letter here and kind of connect the lines to make that nice smooth transition there. No soft edges here. We want it to be, we want that nice crisp edge on these. Okay. All right, that looks good. So now it's just the E. Oops, I think I did the wrong part of the E. Let's see, this goes, and this is going over. Okay, yeah, I did the wrong one. Thank God for the undo button. Yeah, just follow the way you drew your letters, and that will help you out a lot when you do this. All right, so now we have our ribbon lettering completed. So what we can do now is swipe towards the right with both these layers. So they're selected. We are going to grab our arrow tool and we're gonna move this so it's kind of centered. Under snapping, make sure you have snapping turned on. That way you can tell when it's centered, and you should get the 2 yellow crosshairs that I just had, and now it's completely centered. It just, to me, it looks better when you do that. Okay, so let's change our background color. So go ahead and click on the background color, and let's go with this light teal that I have. And now we're gonna add in our final touches to this. And this is super easy, super fun. There is no rhyme or reason for this other than to fill in the space and make it look pretty. So have fun with this part. We're gonna go in and we're gonna grab our dark teal color, and we're going to make a new layer. And you can do this underneath your layers, drag it under, or you can do it on top, it doesn't matter. So in my new brush that I'm working on, I have a dotted brush for you that you should have downloaded, and so you'll be able to use that. And there's different sizes, and when I release the brush set, I do have different colored ones too, so I have a multicolored one and everything too, but I have more brushes I want to add to the set. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to fill in space, and however you want. I'm going to add swirls. I think I might make this brush size bigger. Yeah, I have it at about 51%. And just fill in space however you see fit. just kind of, you know, make it look interesting. And you can do whatever kind of pattern you want. This is just, I like doing swirls when I do the dots. I think it looks really, really pretty like that. You can even kind of, instead of doing just swirls, do a couple lines here and there, just to kind of fill it in a little bit more. And just kind of do them at different angles, different sizes. And you can change the size on the brush itself too if you want for more variation. It's all about getting creative and coming up with something that you really like and just enjoying the process. Honestly, most of art is about the process. It's not so much the outcome. I have so many pieces in my portfolio on here that I don't even care for, but I had fun making it. I just didn't like how they turned out, and so I keep them as reminders and try to make them better or try to learn from them. But art is just about having fun and expressing yourself. Okay, so that looks pretty good. If you think it's too dark, you can go in, click the N on that level, or on the layer, I'm sorry, and then you can reduce the opacity. Let's see, so that's what it is at 100. Oops. And here's about 56%. I actually kind of like it. I kind of like it a little dark like that. So I'm going to leave it like this. So I hope 2021 is better than 2020 was. And I hope that you learned something from this. Please share with me your piece. I would love to see what you come up with, either if you do it on Procreate or if you follow my other tutorial and do it with the markers. I would love to see how yours turned out. So please share with me on Instagram. My tag is BlackRose613 and use the hashtag Wonder Wednesday Projects. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Until next time.